It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, I am pumped today because there is a band that has been suggested to us for months. And people have been reminding us, like, hey, you know, come on. And they're talking about the Alan Parsons Project, which we have never included on the channel until today, and I'm happy that you are joining me. Although this is our first time for the Alan Parsons Project on the channel, I have heard some of his work on the channel previously as a recording engineer. He got his start as an assistant engineer at Abbey Road Studios, and he became this master engineer, a master of his craft, who has worked with many top artists over the decades. He earned his first LP credit on Abbey Road, right up there. Unbelievable, by the Beatles. And his Grammy nomination, he earned a Grammy nomination for his work on Dark Side of the Moon. And that's also up there. And those are permanent additions to my back wall. I mean, those are big tentpole albums, and he had a hand in both of them. It's really amazing. He was asked by Pink Floyd to return and work with them on Wish You Were Here, but by that point he had started up Alan Parsons Project, and their first album came out in 1976. Today we're going to be looking at two of their most well-known tunes. It's Sirius and Eye in the Sky, and these are the lead track and the title track from their sixth album released in May of 1982. So let's start with Eye in the Sky. This is the one that was specifically suggested to us. It was released as a single from this album, and it did quite well for the band. It charted high on the charts all the way around the world. Sirius, though, is interesting. It is an instrumental that opens the album. Alan was thinking that Eye in the Sky might benefit from an extended introduction, especially if it's at the top of the album. And then this introduction with the synth lead that uses a clavinet sample became Sirius, about a 2-minute introduction to Eye in the Sky. Alan had originally written it in a different key, but it was transposed so that it could match up with Eye in the Sky and lead seamlessly right into that song. I know Sirius primarily from two places, y'all. I am from Omaha. I am a Nebraska Cornhuskers fan. And back in the mid-90s, that's when the Cornhuskers football team started using Sirius as their music where the team takes the field, and it's pretty awesome. The other one is where I think most other people know it from, the Chicago Bulls introduction music. Where they're announcing the players to come on to the court. I mean, during Michael Jordan's heyday, where they were winning all those championships, this is the piece that played pre-game, and it's got a real special place, especially in the sports sort of zeitgeist of America. And so it's really going to be fun to hear it and pick it apart with Eye in the Sky today on the channel. So we've got Alan Parsons on the clavinet and on the Fairlight CMI. Eric Wolfson is on keyboards, and he also is on lead vocals on Eye in the Sky. Andrew Powell did the orchestral arrangements, and he also was the conductor. David Patton is on the bass, Ian Berenson is on guitars, and Stuart Elliott is on the drums and percussion. So let's do it, y'all. I've got it set where we're going to go directly from Sirius straight into Eye in the Sky, just like it does on the album. So let's hit it with these two songs from the Alan Parsons Project. Off we go. Right. There it comes. It's big B. It's just overwhelming in its immensity, right? Just that big tone. And I think that he's using a delay. Big B chord. Down to G. Down to E. Descending thirds. And then it goes back to home, to B. And that's the progression. They start layering over other stuff above it. That riff can work over all of these chords because you're just moving the root down a third. Everything else still fits. And then that's it, right? It goes down just to the bass. And it's just got that B, down a third to G. Same tempo, same opening chord movement, down by a third. There's B minor, down to G, and it resolves to relative major, the D chord, to start this one. That's a cool move. 5 of 5 to 1. 4, 1. Yeah, so we're in D.
Don't say words you're gonna regret. Don't let the fire rush to your head.
This G. Yeah.
And I ain't gonna take any more. Believe me, the sun in your eyes made some of the lies worth believing. I am the eye in the sky, looking at you. I can read your mind. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind.
G major turns into G minor with an added sixth. It's a really cool move. It's like almost E half diminished, if you want to look at it that way. But it turns from a G major chord to G minor with an added sixth. Really a fun move. From the parallel minor. Just descending thirds. Nice. Back to B. E major to D. That's a cool move too. And his voice is so buttery, you know?
I am the eye in the sky, looking at you. I can read.
And this move to the 3 chord is something that doesn't happen very often. D major. To the 3 chord. Minor 4. 6. I can read your mind. It sounds so great. You don't dwell on what they're actually saying. At least I don't. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind. Just the way that it's mixed and layered sounds so good. Guitar is tasteful, right where it should be. Drums aren't overdone. Get a little guitar solo, I think. Not overplaying. Just right in the pocket. Simple groove. Really neat. Of course, I know the song. I've heard both of these throughout the years. And that's really part of the reason why I held off on doing these on the channel for so long. But it just came time. I'm like, yeah, let's get some Alan Parsons on the channel. And if we're gonna do it, if we're gonna start with it, we got to start with these two. So that's what we're up to. I want to show you a little bit, y'all, about how this this opening with Sirius works and why that riff works over all of these different chords. So if you take a D major chord, D, F sharp, and A, if I take those that same triad and I move the within that key the bass note down by a third, all of these top notes can stay in the chord. So this is root, third, and fifth. In this chord, it's now that's the root, and now that D major chord is the third, fifth, and seventh, right? You move it down to a G. Now it's the fifth, seventh, and ninth. You move it down to here, it's the seventh, ninth, and 11th. You know, so this chords, it all works. I never have to move anything over the top of it. So that moving by descending third allows that riff that we have going on in the right hand of the keyboard to be repetitive and it work over all of those chords. It's really cool. The other thing that's really neat about it is that suspension that's in that riff. If we go back to B minor, right? The opening is just B minor, down to G, down to E minor, back to B minor. It's almost how it sounds, but it's got something else, doesn't it? And it's that fourth, the fourth of the key. If I'm in B minor, this fourth of the key in E is the note that's really in that riff. It goes. And the top note is just a B down to an A, the root of the chord down to the seventh. But the note that's there is a suspended fourth, right? It's not B minor, it's B minor suspended with the suspended fourth. And when you do that, over the G, over the E, right? It goes to all of those, and it allows for that suspension to just hold off and allow us to think about what's going to be coming next. And it's not quite resolved. It's looking forward, and that's why it really works so well as an introduction to a sporting event, because we have a whole bunch of pent up anticipation and we're ready for the match to start. And it's like, it's going to start, it's getting here, but it's not quite here yet. And musically, it fits just right. And that's why I think it works very well for all of these sports teams that uses that tune. So as far as Eye in the Sky is concerned, there's not really a definitive explanation from the band as to the specific meaning of the lyrics of what's going on. Some have tried to tie it directly to the 1984 novel by Orwell. I think that's an indirect link at best. Alan did say that the general idea of Big Brother is watching was part of a broad theme on the album, but I don't think and nothing was really overt about that source for this stuff. Other people say it's about a relationship that has gone wrong and about a disgruntled lover who is choosing to spy on and invade the privacy of their ex. You know, I can read your mind. I'm looking. I'm the eye in the sky, you know. Other people say that eye in the sky is a direct reference to casinos, where you're always under surveillance by the eye in the sky. That's what they actually call it. It's hard to tell for me, and at one level, I really am not too concerned about it, because I think the lasting significance of the song, both of these songs, are their sound, and not necessarily the lyrics or their message. And that's something that I don't often say here on the channel. Just you get caught up in just how it sounds. It's like I said, it's expertly mixed, and it's got these really complementary parts that don't get in each other's way. They just kind of layer on, just like when you have a really great sandwich and all the ingredients are just right, and then you take that bite and it's like everything comes together and it's just the way that it should be, you know. It's expertly put together, and you would expect to with Alan as, you know, part of the thing. I mean, he's a master engineer, so you would expect for their recordings to sound really, really fantastic. And that's what I get from this. You just love the sound. And I've got the lyrics in front of me, and I really wasn't even paying attention to them much. I'm just enjoying what's going on. So I think that's the legacy of this. If y'all have any personal thoughts on what Eye in the Sky is specifically referring to, I would appreciate your thoughts in the comment section. But that's where I'm going to leave it today, friends. It's a wonderful piece, historic piece. It still gets, I think, radio airplay, and Sirius is still real important in a lot of different circles, and it's kind of moved past its original reason for being. It's gotten a new life. I think that's kind of cool as well. So that's got me pumped up, y'all. I want to go watch some old Chicago Bulls games or some old Nebraska Cornhusker games and hear Sirius as part of that. But it was fun to play along, and fun to kind of pick it apart a little bit and show you how that suspended fourth can heighten the anticipation of an arrival. It's a really neat musical tool. And this was fun to look at Sirius and Eye in the Sky from the Alan Parsons Project. Thanks, friends. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.